What's up, YouTube? My name's Glitchy Gremlin, and today I'll be teaching you how to convert a UST UTAU file to use in Chipspeech, specifically with the LMMS Digital Audio Workspace, or DAW. So, these instructions should, in theory, work with other DAWs, but some of these might be specific to LMMS. I haven't used any other ones, so that's really all I know. Your first step is, of course, going to be to pick the UST you want. So you open UTAU, go into wherever you have the UST you want to do. I think I'm just going to go with this one. And you open it up. It doesn't matter what voice you choose in UTAU because you're not going to actually use you're not actually going to use UTAU. All you're going to do is just export each MIDI file. And I'm really glad this one's in Romaji because it's actually going to make my life a little easier later on. Right, so once you've done that, if this is a multi-part, I'll do that later. So once you've exported your MIDIs, go to LMMS. I like to close those windows and open up the piano roll because I don't need any of the others. And go ahead and import your MIDI. Or MIDIs, whichever, however many you have. I scrolled past it. I'm actually not going to do the whole thing. I'm just going to do this one part for the demonstration purposes. And once you have your MIDI loaded in, go down here to Vestige and drag that onto the track. The prompt's gonna open up and you can just load in your Chipspeech VST. Like so. Alright, so once you got Chipspeech loaded in, pick the voice that you want to do your song with. In this case, I think I'm gonna go with Vossum. Or Vosim, or however you pronounce it. I just say Vossum. And now it's time to put the lyrics into Chipspeech. You have two ways, really, that you can do this. The first way to do this is what I personally do. Oh wait, that's the wrong one. I have to open up the first part again. Right. So what you do for my method is with some of these, you're going to have to right-click it. Like if it's in hiragana, you'll have to right-click it to see the lyric. But in this case, it's in Romaji, so the lyrics are right there. My method requires you to have the Japanese language pack installed. But if you don't have the Japanese language pack installed, you can also just go to Google Translate and use its input method to get hiragana. And you have to make sure you have Japanese as the input, turn on input method on, and you just go through your UST, right click on it if it's showing up as weird glitchy characters. You'll right click it and see the hiragana. anyway, you'll have to probably hit enter after every single one that you do, so it doesn't turn it into a kanji. But personally, I prefer to do just this method. Alright, so now that you've gotten your lyrics in your notepad, just go to Chipspeech and copy each line out, paste it in. Let's go down one by one. Alright, now that we've got our lyrics in Chipspeech, we need to look for any of this letter, the N character. Here's a good example of it. Yeah. You have to look for anything with that, because Utao and Chipspeech treat the N sound very, very differently. Utao will use that as its own phoneme, whereas Chipspeech will just stick the N to the back of whatever came before it. So instead of saying ya, n, like Utao might, Chipspeech will just go yan instead, and that will completely ruin the timing of the song. So what I found works is you can either insert this character, which means hold, basically. It means to hold whatever vowel came before it. You can copy that and put it before any instance of the N sound. Or you could also, alternatively, use a dummy letter, which is you use the same vowel. Like, for example, let's look for the next instance of an N. Right here where it says ga, N, you could either stick the little dash thing in there or add a dummy letter, which is add an A in there, an A, and put that in there. So instead of just saying gan, it'll say ga-an. That, it works the same whether you add dummy letters or you do this spacer thing. I'm just going to go through and go ahead and take out all those N's by themselves, so that way they can be said correctly. And just for consistency, I'm gonna use the spacer thing. I don't actually know what that's called. I don't know Japanese more than being able to read hiragana. So if you know what this dash thing is called, please tell me in the comments. You gotta make sure you get every single N, or else it'll be wrong. And now for the other most important thing that you have to do whenever you import a UST. You have to double click on your MIDI every single part for this. You have to do this for every single part. Go down to this Q menu and select 1/192nd. Zoom all the way in and mouse over the last part of the note until this little double-headed arrow appears. And just drag it one cell to the left so that the notes aren't touching. If the notes are touching in Utau, it's fine, but in Chipspeech, if the notes are touching, it'll treat it all as one long note, and that will completely ruin the timing of the song. So you have to do that. And go through and do that for every single one. I just like to push it over by 1/192nd cell, so that way it doesn't really make any difference to how you hear it, but to Chipspeech, it sounds fine. Alright, and now that you have that, just go here, select your first note, and then go. Now for this I like to change the division up a little bit, so that way it, oh come on. There we go. Alright. Now that you have that, I like to go down here and just stick a note of the same length on the C0 level. The first couple of cells, I don't know how many exactly, but like the first 10 cells or so are dedicated to basically forcing Chipspeech to start on that specific line number. So if you put a note in C0 along with a regular note, it'll make Vossen start singing at that line number. Right, so now that we have everything there, just make sure that's selected, and start playing and see what it sounds like. It doesn't quite sound right. I think I might have missed something. So, another thing you can do to see if you can see exactly where it's getting off is to go here. Okay, so it's getting off somewhere between line 2 and line 3, so there's something wrong with that. Alright, so if for whatever reason your Chipspeech is just one letter behind and you can't figure out why and it's driving you crazy, go to your Utau and see what happened with your see what the original creator did with the UST. Some of them might be CV some of them might be CV banks, some of them might be made for VCV banks or even CVVC banks, which I do not know how that works. So you just go through here and see what exactly they did right around where it's screwing up. Alright. Oh, I see what I did wrong. I missed a syllable. There's supposed to be an E in there, and I missed a syllable completely. That'll do it. Yeah, so it's always a good idea to go ahead and compare what you wrote to what you wrote in your notepad document to the UST to make sure you didn't miss any syllables or any phonemes or whatever. To just make sure you did everything right. Yeah, so that's the end of that one. And to listen to the rest of it, you just go here. You can't add a I probably can't add another start on this line signal thing here because it's on line 12, and I'm pretty sure Chipspeech's line signals only go up to about 10. So right around after the first 10 notes on the piano roll, it'll start actually rendering out as a super, super deep note. So you don't want that. So we're just going to keep test listening. Okay, something's wrong. Right, so if it ends on the very last one, you know you did it right. And now that we realize that all the phonemes have been used, we got the timing just right. So you hit stop, start over to make it to highlight that first letter, and then you can export it. Go, of course, file, export. I'm just gonna put it on my desktop for now. Oh wait, I forgot. I keep forgetting to do this. Another way you can absolutely make sure that LMMS isn't going to mess up the timing is when you go to export, scroll down so that the last part is visible. And then once you do that, once you navigate to where you want to save it, you hit save and start exporting. And as it's exporting, it'll eventually get down here. And once again, you know you did it right if this last letter is highlighted when it's done, because that means that's the last thing that Chipspeech rendered out. By the way, you can probably close Utao now, since I'm not going to do the rest of it. And from there, it's pretty easy. All you have to do is open up Audacity. And find where you saved your rendered out audio. Drag it into Audacity. Now, Chipspeech likes to make the audio kind of quiet, so I usually like to amplify it a bit. But in this case, it looks like it's pretty good volume. Yeah, that volume's fine. And you go into where your UST is, sorry, and go find the instrumental. So I believe that's it. And in some cases you will have to play with the volume, and sometimes you'll even have to make sure the timing's right. In this case, I just have to listen to it. Right, so right about there is where the vocals are supposed to start. I'm just going to drag that over like that. And I'm going to make sure. I don't think that's right. Now, sometimes it might give you the wrong tempo, so it's also a good idea to go ahead and double check the tempo as well to make sure that's right. Alright, 160. 160. Okay, it's not the tempo. It means that I have it in... It's either a little too early or a little too late. Once again, doing Chipspeech music in general is... It's a lot of playing detective and process of elimination and trial and error and all that good stuff. I think it's starting a little bit early. I got a good feeling about this now. Another hack that you can do if you're really having trouble getting it to line up is you can always download the actual Vocaloid version of the song if it's not already in there. You can download the Vocaloid version of the song and mute the instrumental version and try to sync up the Chipspeech singing with the actual Vocaloid singing. Yeah, I think I might have to do that, but that's more, Anyway, once you have it synced up, you can just export the audio, and then you're done. You've made yourself a nice Chipspeech song. And let me know if you have any other questions related to Chipspeech. I would be more than happy to answer them and maybe even make follow-up tutorials if you want. Bye for now, guys. And just one more thing that I'd also like to add is that if you have a UST that's not in Romaji or English letters, you can also there's nothing in there, I guess. I need to find a UST that doesn't have... I believe this one doesn't have... Yeah. Oh, no. That one's Romaji. Okay, yeah. These little glitchy letters mean that it's supposed to be in hiragana, but for whatever reason it's not rendering. So if you want to find out what the letters for that are, just right-click it, and the actual hiragana will show up in the lyric area. And what you have to do then is just go into Notepad, make sure you're set to Japanese, and then just type the lyrics in that way. I know that that's also a bit of a pain, but really that's just about the only way I can think of that you can actually get the lyrics in there correctly. I'm not going to do the whole thing for this song because I don't really want to do that song right now, but hope you guys enjoyed.